Hello everyone, and welcome back to Anatomy with Miss Resty. Today we're going to be reviewing the bones of the arm and talking about the way that the bones come together to make joints. We have the humerus, the ulna, this kind of U-shaped top, and the radius with this disc-shaped head. Let's go ahead and focus first on the humerus. Right here I have a right humerus and a left humerus. This would be as if someone was laying with their back on the table and we are looking at the front of them. If we want to look at the posterior side, we would change sides, flip it over, and notice this divot here called the Olecranon fossa, which allows for us to straighten our arm. The head of the humerus is most medial. Getting into the different parts of the humerus, let's first look at the proximal epiphyses. We have the head of the humerus, which joins to form the glenohumoral joint of the shoulder, the greater tubercle, just opposite the head of the humerus, and the lesser tubercle. Here in the center, we have the deltoid tuberosity. Down at the end of the bone, the distal epiphyses, we have the trochlea and the capitulum. The capitulum is lateral, so it is on the same side as the greater tubercle, and the trochlea, which continues onto the back as well, is more in the middle or medial side of the bone, same as the head of the humerus. Here we have two ulnas. Again, this would be the anterior view. So this is a left ulna and this is a right ulna. Now you might be wondering, how can I tell right or left? If we look at the trochlear notch and then this part here, the radial notch, it kind of looks like a cheek dimple. The radius sits laterally on the lower arm. So the radius would be here. And since this is on the lateral side of the bone, this would be a left ulna. So the dimple is on the left side of the bone. Same thing here. If I flip it to orient it to my own body, here's your ulna. Radius must be lateral. That dimple is on the right side of the bone. Let's go through the bone markings of the ulna. Here we have the olecranon. If you ever touch or hit your bony elbow, the part that kind of sticks out, you are touching your olecranon. Here is the trochlear notch. This is what is going to connect to the trochlea of the humerus, forming that elbow joint. And here, that dimple is the radial notch. Moving down, we have the styloid process. Our final bone of the forearm is the radius. The radius has this disc-like head and then two styloid processes that can help us to determine right from left. Here we have the radius in orientation of the arm. So since the styloid process is on the left side with the radial tuberosity pointing anteriorly, this is a left radius. If I take my right radius, place it as it would be in the arm, here is the radial tuberosity, and the styloid process is on the right side of the bone. That essentially wraps up the bone markings we would review: head of the radius, radial tuberosity, and styloid process. Let's review all of the joints that we now see that involve the arm and its connection to the scapula. Here is the glenohumoral joint, seen here between the glenoid fossa of the scapula and the head of the humerus. This is a multi-axial joint allowing movements up and down, adduction to the side, and even slight rotation within the joint. Down here, we have the elbow joint, formed between the trochlea and the trochlear notch and the capitulum to the radial head. The elbow is a hinge joint which allows for an open and closed movement. The radioulnar joint is a pivot rotation joint, which allows for rotation like so. It's humorous how amazing these bones are. See you next time!